Welcome to Endgame Finance. Today, guys, I'm going to talk to you about Rivian again. I also want to talk to you about Lucid Motors. Now, I've been pretty negative about Lucid Motors as a company in the past. However, I see things getting even worse. I see Lucid getting potentially delisted from NASDAQ, and I see them having to do a reverse share split just to remain listed. Now, that will destroy this company's value. If you ever seen a company do a reverse stock split, it means they're in big trouble. And as soon as that occurs, everyone basically starts to bail out on the company. It's basically a signal that ship is sinking and you need to get off. But let's switch back to Rivian real quick. Now, Rivian released their production numbers and they were actually really good. Rivian produced 17,541 EV during the fourth quarter, an increase over the 16,304 produced in the third quarter. So their consecutive production is still increasing, it's still growing. Rivian produced 57,232 vehicles for the full year, all in its factory in Normal, Illinois. That topped the company's full 2023 production guidance of 54,000 vehicles, so they beat it by over 3,000 vehicles. The vehicle company said it delivered, not produced. It delivered 13,972 vehicles from October through December, down 10.2% from the third quarter, but in line with expectations from Wall Street. Now, Wall Street was expecting around 14,000 vehicles delivered. However, Rivian did say their delivery numbers would look a lot weaker in the fourth quarter because Amazon does not take delivery of electric vehicles in the fourth quarter because of the holidays. They're really busy pushing out packages. They're really busy figuring out their logistics because it is the biggest shopping season in the world and it's the biggest shopping season of the year. So they did not take delivery of all these vehicles. However, I consider that a bullish indicator. So even without Amazon, they delivered almost 14,000 vehicles. That's pretty impressive. So you can expect the first quarter to just basically be a lot better just because Amazon will take all these vehicles. Now, I believe Rivian even said every single vehicle that was produced was actually purchased. So these vehicles are just waiting in transit. And people are saying there's a slowdown in EV deliveries. I don't see it. It's just basically these small things like Amazon not taking delivery in the fourth quarter that basically lowers the production, that lowers the delivery numbers, and everyone basically panics and says there's a slowdown in demand. However, that's not true. Now, you can see this with Tesla as well. This is basically an indicator there is no slowdown in demand for EVs unless their EVs are just not viable like Lucid. And we'll talk about Lucid in a minute, but we see Tesla delivered almost 500,000 vehicles in just one quarter. And that's expected to grow. Now, what happened to Tesla last quarter was they also showed slowdown in deliveries, but that was actually so they can retool their factory. And because they had a slowdown to retool their factories, everyone assumed there's a slowdown in demand for EVs. However, this is not the case. These guys delivered less because they had to retool their factories. They were pushing out the new Model 3. I believe they're doing some improvements at the Model Y. However, Model 3 Highlander was basically a refreshed product and production line had to stop for these guys just to implement all these changes, to implement all these efficiencies to the vehicle. So this whole talk about slowdown in demand for EVs is just not true. There's just not enough EVs that are produced viably, are produced at an appropriate price. They're produced at an appropriate price and they have demand. They have such branding and quality that people actually want them. Now, we also see here there's so much more coming from Rivian. They're unveiling their subscription service with their partner AT&T. AT&T just bought. They're doing the pilot program with the Rivian. Basically, they will be purchasing possibly thousands and thousands of electric delivery vans as well as R1Ts. So AT&T can basically do servicing, and they can service the telephone poles, the internet, everything else. And if you have an electric truck that just plugs in, it's a tremendous help to the company. And last thing I want to mention about Rivian actually broke into the top 10 best-selling EVs of 2023. They've actually beaten Model X now consistently. They've even beaten Ford F-150 Lightning. Rivian R1S landed in the 7th spot. Now, this is pretty good considering this company did not even exist just a few years ago. At the top, we still see Tesla Model Y and Model 3 being some of the best. Well, not being, they are the best-selling EVs, and I believe Model Y was actually one of the best selling cars in the entire world, especially in Europe. So Tesla still has a lot of demand for their vehicles, and Rivian is just basically taking that segment, that luxury premium segment that Model X and S had. Rivian has basically replaced them and taken that market. Let's get back to Lucid. Lucid stock sinks to a new low after Q4 EV deliveries fall year over year. Lucid delivered 1,734 vehicles in the last 3 months of 2023. Although that's up slightly from the third quarter, deliveries are still down from their peak Q4 in 2022. Production is also down from the peak. Lucid built 2,391 EVs, that's down 30% year over year. So even their production just keeps going down and the deliveries keep going down. Meanwhile, it costs, I believe, around $500,000 to produce this vehicle at this production capacity. So unless they increase their capacity to hundreds of thousands of vehicles per year, they will keep losing money on every single unit they produce. At the current time, I believe they're losing around $500,000 per vehicle sold. So every vehicle that gets sold, it's minus $500,000 in profit. So Lucid delivered total 6,000 vehicles in 2023, representing a 28% growth. The EV maker hit its revised production target goal, building 8,428 vehicles. So Lucid has failed to keep up with competitors, including Rivian and Tesla, in the premium EV market. Lucid is trying to break into this premium market, but they're using a sedan. Sedans are not as popular, or at least people will not pay as much for a sedan as they would for an SUV. And SUVs and pickup trucks are extremely hot. They're extremely in demand right now in the United States, especially, but globally as well. And this is what Rivian really did well. They designed a car. They built a car that people want, that there's a huge demand for. And I just don't think Lucid went the same way. Now, Lucid is trying to lower their prices. The base Lucid Air Pure starts at $77,000. That's still more than the Tesla Model S. And the Lucid Sapphire will cost $250,000. No one is going to pay $250,000 for a sedan of a company that's not really that popular and doesn't have much branding. I mean, why not choose Porsche? Why not choose even a cheaper Ferrari? And you have all these other luxury options like the Lincoln Navigator, the Rivian R1S. So no one is going to choose a $250,000 vehicle from a company that might not even exist in the next few years. So once these guys go bankrupt, which is a highly likely possibility, these cars will be extremely difficult to service, especially these $250,000 vehicles that will not have any centers to fix their issues, to fix their problems. So the car you're buying right now from Lucid might actually be the car that you will have to take care of yourself, you will have to fix up in the future. So basically, I see Lucid share is really tanked, and they're getting to that level where they're at risk of being delisted from Nasdaq, and Nasdaq will probably issue a delisting notice sometime this year, which will force Lucid basically to do a reverse split, at least 10-for-1 or at least 20-for-1. And if you've ever seen a stock do a reverse split, it's just not a good indicator. It just means that company is basically finished, they're near bankruptcy, and once they do this reverse split, their market capitalization will fall drastically. I would even say up to 90%. And eventually they will have to declare bankruptcy because the money will run out. A lot of people assume Saudi Arabia will just keep throwing billions and billions of dollars into this. However, Saudis are probably getting pretty tired of this investment and will wind it down. They'll probably take it private and then just sell it for parts. So that's it, guys. I wanted to give you a quick update on Rivian, and I wanted to give you a warning on Lucid Motors. So that's it, guys. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know below. Guys, like, subscribe, and as always, have a great day.